Welcome players to another ShawnSetGO video. Today we're going to be reacting to Bellular's what to do at level 80 video, talk about what we feel, what we think about the game in its current state, as well as some of the things that we need to do when we hit level 80. So let's start that now. Cool. Hold on, man. Give me a second.
And by now you've likely hit level 80 and finished the campaign. So, what now? There will be plenty of prepping for mythic gamers, doing degenerate farming strategies for gear, sure, but what if gearing's not your cup of tea? The good news is this expansion's actually quite packed.
I prefer the degenerate farming tactics. Back in the day, farming for Savage Gladiator's Chain was super degenerate, but hey,
especially now that the rest
gotta do what you gotta do.
Up. The first few things on our list are going to be better if you sort them out now in the preseason, and then everything else is content you can chip away at anytime you're logged in. Now, an important reminder, the previous two expansions in a row have both had meta achievements added in the final patch. As an example, that's the one that gave you Taivan in Dragonflight. These are all-encompassing achievements that reward you with some sort of really cool mount for completing everything in the expansion. So I think Blizzard will definitely do.
Sorry, I was muted. That's what the cool mount was? Okay.
That again, so you may as well start as you mean to go on by seeing everything the game has to offer. Mount farming is the #1 group activity now. Players are nuking objectives and rares as well as organizing group finder farms, and the two specific farms are Sizebark and the Soaring Meadow Bee. Now for Sizebark, you need to kill the rare Takat in order to start a quest, and once you've got that, it's basically time to farm out thousands of bits of Nerubian. So right now there are tons of groups up in the caves and some of the good fast spawning spots. You'll need to complete 3 steps, all of which are pretty farm heavy. The first 2 are pretty easy to do in Siegehold by just killing everything in sight, but the last step needs you to kill Ascended Nerubians. Now, this elite zone is pretty much the best spot to group up and just blend those Nerubians into paste. Now, if you'd rather do this at your own pace, you can also...
I don't have an issue with like mass farming and doing this, but I guess I feel when it comes to like mass farming and like farming massive groups of enemies, it feels cool for like the first few minutes, and then afterwards you're like, why can't I do this?
Also go and farm the Arakara dungeon by just queuing for it, or even just doing it as a follower dungeon, because at least those followers will be helping you do some more damage. The next mount farm is way more simple, so all you need to do is farm a whopping 900 sizzling cinder pollen from the elite flame bees at the meadery, and then you just go and buy the mount from the vendor at the entrance. So both of these farms will take you a few hours at the very most with the help of the group finder. So those are the farmable ones sorted. Then there are 4 more mounts you should consider getting now. 3 of them unfortunately are pure RNG, so let's get into those. You've got 1 shot per day per character at Bellular spawn and the regurgitated mole rains. These drop from the rare Bellular spawn on Hallowfall, shockingly, and also shockingly the Lurker of the Deeps rare in the Ringing Deeps. Now the spawn honestly is an ass. It appears every time Bellular turns into its darkened state, which happens every 3 hours. The nightmare is that it has at least 20 different locations, so some raid group coordination is needed to guarantee you'll actually get a tag on that mob. You know how it is, right?
I've done these. They're actually kind of fun to like locate. You know, like it's a pain, but like when it spawns, you want to be there.
People just go full send into their cooldowns, and then the rare can die in seconds, which basically denies the kill from everybody else. So if you are there, try to hold off and wait so more people are able to tag it. Of course, keeping track of that spawn timer could be a real pain in the ass, but the good news is there's a chat script that I've linked down below, and that chat script will actually display it for you. As for the mole rains, thankfully those are easier. There are 5 levers across the zone, all of which need to be pulled at the same time. Once the levers are pulled, the lurker will spawn in a lake to the west, and thankfully there's enough spawn immunity that you'll probably actually have time to get there. Just be on the lookout for the little zone-wide message. It's the one about rain in a lake. When you see that, the rare is going to be up. Now, the third RNG mount is the Dauntless Imperial Links from the Imperial Supply Satchels, and you can get that cat out of the bag by doing the Lamplighter objectives in the northeast of Hallowfall that are around the Spreading the Light event. Now, the big Keyflame events are weekly, but the good news is the lesser Keyflame ones that can be lit up with Radiant Remnants, those are actually daily, and there's quite a lot of them, so that's a good way to get more bags, which will give you more chances at getting the links, and they're also a pretty good source of the resonance crystals that you can just use to purchase loads of the cosmetics, and also some of the epic gear from the renowned vendors. Now, the last non-renowned mount that you can get at any time is the Swarmite Sky Hunter, and that's just from getting all of the Skyriding glyphs. You could hunt for those by yourself if you want a little bit of fun exploration, or you could just yoink on an add-on to make that quick and easy. It's pretty much up to you. Another activity I'd recommend in the preseason is to level up your cooking, and that's because there's a new type of food this expansion that's extremely...
I think that people have like consistently across expansions undervalued what having like max cooking provides. I don't know if it's the same way or if it was the same way in Dragonflight. Or maybe even Shadowlands and beyond, but it used to be that if you were the person with like the max cooking and had like the feast, like you contribute to the feast, like you pay for it, you help people like get the ingredients, say if the ingredients are harder to acquire. It was important to have somebody who had the feast. So like I feel like that's something that's like still undervalued, but I've always liked cooking for that reason.
Valuable, but you've got to make it yourself, and that is hearty food. So once you hit level 25 cooking, you can turn any Khazalgar meal into a hearty version of itself, and the hearty version will persist through death, and that means no more like losing your food buff during Mythic Plus or when pushing in Delves, or just having to watch everybody, eat every single pool in a raid. Now, there is a catch here, and that's that you need 5 meals to make a hearty meal. So if you're on progression or you're dying a lot, that's extremely worth it. But if you don't expect you'll die, of course, it's not worth it. Anyway, to unlock this, all you've got to do is make enough food to hit level 25. And you should probably have enough ingredients from just playing the game, which makes this literally free. Then all you need to do is buy the food from the auction house or make it yourself, and then make it hearty. Then there's even better news for progression raiders, and that's that this also works for feasts, although
I like that because it means that it makes food, I mean, as long as it's auction houseable, to where basically you can sell made food as opposed to just the ingredients, which is cool.
It takes 10 feasts in order to make a hearty feast, and you'll need to be level 75 cooking. But still, if you're doing progression and you expect to wipe a whole bunch, I mean, man, that is going to be a pretty damn big saving, although it's a pretty large investment, so leave it to your raid leader to figure out. Obviously, though, if you're a god gamer and you never die, then yeah, just stick to regular food. Side quests then. Look, I've said this in many videos since release. It really is true. This is the perfect time to work through all of the local stories and to soak in everything the game's got to offer. You can, of course, do these on your alts to level up your alts, or you can just do them, in your main character to get that kind of like one character completeness feeling. But either way, turn up your music, turn the lights down, and enjoy these excellent stories. And to get the most out of them, use Dialogue UI, zoom in your camera a little bit more, and just lose some time to what is honestly a pretty damn gorgeous continent with a lot of really good quests. And if you want a bit of guidance, we've made a tier list of quest recommendations over on our site, so if you'd like to support us and get the best quests first, you can check out that post. The other bright side of doing all the side quests is that will
Hard disagree. I feel like side quests. I don't think I've had a good side quest. Yet. So
actually almost unlock the Earthen Allied race for you. You won't be able to do it yet, but whenever the last time-gated chapter of the endgame campaign opens up, you'll be able to get them right away if you've done the side quest. So you may as well do that now so you can unlock the Allied race later. Delves then. Once the season is in full swing, Delves may be a bit more of a sweaty affair because the higher difficulties are there, but now is a really good time to try out all the different variants without having to stress at doing them at a higher tier with
I feel like the Delves got harder like in the past couple of days. I feel like they made it easier up until a patch. I might be wrong, but I feel like they got harder.
The death counter. Now, the way these work is that they cycle their objective every single day, and sometimes this can be as simple as clicking different items, or in some, you actually have entirely different routes.
I do like that delves do change in the sense that they're not the same thing across the board. Like they are slightly varied. It feels like in Wuthering Waves, whenever you do the higher tiers, that you unlock more Not just more difficulty. It's not just a bigger targeted enemy, but the challenge changes because their moveset changes. I like that a lot.
Open up, you've got new enemies and even new abilities to help you. So right now you've got trying out all the cool variants, you've got leveling up Bran a little bit to help with your higher tiers, and then of course finishing up all the achievements for picking up chests. Now the last one will net you a title, which is Seeker of Loot, which is sort of implied if you're a WoW player, but hey, it's nice to have the title anyway. Ashgahat then, so it's not quite Suramar 2, but you can definitely spot the similarities, especially in that it's an endgame zone with a little bit more going on with its mechanics. Now one of the weekly activities is to establish a pact with one of the 3 heads of the Severed Threads faction. So once you've chosen your lucky leader, then you'll go and you'll do rumors and that leader's specific side activity. To do rumors, all you do is buy a map for 25 kedge, use it, and then go and grab the rumor to solve. This can be things like assassination and theft, all while you're dodging the guards, and basically it's a good little time. Now the side activity will vary. As an example, the Weaver has got little weave rats that show you.
Total side note. Does this mean that we're siding with some of the Nerubians? Is that what I'm getting from this? Sorry if that's like a spoiler, but like, does that mean we're siding with some of them? Some of them are good guy Nerubians? Do I have to say why that's dumb? Can a bad guy just be a bad guy?
Where to get caches of kedge. The general has you dueling one of his aspirants, though I've heard it's a little bit buggy, and the vizier has you go and find old Kaheti artifacts. And while these aren't incredible, they are fun enough, and kedge will be useful for all sorts of cosmetics and items across the zone. As an example, the polymorphic translation potions that you'll need to get some of the book reading achievements. And somebody is going to be the first person to get the almost 9 million kedge Queen's Pheromones, so if you got the Queen's Pheromones, congratulations, you've earned it. Fishing. I've got great news for fishing. It's got a whole new progression mechanic attached this time called the Algari Weaver line.
That's like a monster Musume. Like, type fantasy is weird.
So if you open your fishing journal, you'll see that it looks a little bit different. They have guides to the areas and the pools within them. There's even a fishing derby in Hallowfall every Saturday that awards you with this very suspicious looking fish mount alongside a bunch of other cosmetics. Now, to do well there, you will need to get your skill.
They need to put the team that's fleshing out fishing in more areas of the game. Whoever's doing this is doing so good. I would say that's the one thing I'm excited for at 80, because I don't think I'll do fishing up until then, but I think I won't mind that.
Nice and high in order to get that mount and as much currency as possible, so definitely find your fish fear me cat and put it on. It's not the most exciting way to kill time, but for whatever reason fishing in MMOs is just exceptionally relaxing. One of the more obvious things to do is to hit all that checklist stuff while you've got the time. So there are a ton of new skywriting races across every zone with normal, advanced and reverse variants to of course drive yourself insane trying to get the gold on and missing it by like 0.1 of a second. Now there's no reward title this time around, but they have learned how to make the races actually pretty damn good and engaging. Then there are the Adventurer and Treasures achievements. Just hang out a while in each zone and clear up the rares and the treasures, and once you've done that, you won't have to think it again. Of course, you can either go it raw with no add-ons, or you can bang on that Eurobeat playlist and just follow the add-on directions, not remember a single thing, but somehow emerge the other end with a bunch of checklist things completed. Either way, these will give you loads of progress on your renowns, because when you get those unique rares and you get unique treasures, they come with 150 rep each, so you'll get all of that and loads of cosmetics real soon. A thing that's a little different this time is Blizzard's focus on lore books, so there are achievements for interacting with or picking up all of the books, and those delve into just the background info of zones. They're honestly really high quality this time round, so if doing side quests has just got you a little bit more interested in the lore, checking these out will scratch that itch. And there's a brand new add-on from Ellie, who goes by Keyboard Turn over an X, and well, yeah, she's made an add-on that is all about just collecting the text from these lore books, so if you want to
Seems like a big missed opportunity to just have these books be auto added to like a bookshelf. So anytime you go into an inn, there's a bookshelf and you could pull these out, read them, and go through them. Like, that seems so easy, like of a thought. So
want to do this but not have your bags be clogged full of lore books, then that add-on is absolutely something to consider. PvP, and I know loads of people will just click off as soon as I mention it, but PvPers have actually got a new battleground to enjoy, and the other thing is that solo will just click off as soon as I are coming for real with this season launch, and that actually means that PvP could be looking on the up. Now, I'm not going to make promises about balance or anything like that. I can at least say, though, the Jardinar team swears by just starting an expansion in war mode and trying to just do an old school World of Warcraft bloodbath. I totally recommend doing that.
I think that's what the new BGs have been missing for some time, is that it doesn't really have like these like PvP type feels. It just feels like a mini game. And how it's achievable is just who does like the tasks faster. So it's like PvP skill is almost put second to just completing tasks. So I mean, of course, I mean the old battlegrounds are still there. It's just yeah.
Myself, and certainly when I think about like World of Warcraft PvP, it's either that bullshit in the open world or it's doing battlegrounds. I've never been a massive arena person, and that I can actually do solo queue rated battle.
I don't think anybody's been an arena person for some time, and I think we all know why. It's because dueling is not fun, so arena is not fun by proxy. So if dueling is fun, arena should be fun. But dueling is not really a thing, and arenas are just absolutely just snooze fest because battles last forever, and it's not even a matter of who hits their buttons faster. It's a matter of like who doesn't do the most optimal rotation of their abilities. And when PvP starts to feel like PvE, that's when it becomes just absolutely boring. But a lot of fun things to do. I will say, like, to me, like the best of them all is definitely going to be the fishing of all of that, for me at least, and mount farming. Mount farming to me is always like a good thing to pass the time. But I guess that's what we'll be doing. I mean, didn't really talk a whole bunch about, you know, like dungeon experiences and stuff like that, but I think that's also been time gated. So I will say that dungeon experiences, my overall opinion of them so far is that there's a lot of basically big swirlies insta kill you, or big charged conal attack will kill you. That seems to be like the main thing. So I will say the amount of insta kill and insta gib type things is kind of overwhelming, but that might be something that's been growing over time versus something that's exclusive to just this expansion. So I mean, that's what I feel. But until next time, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.